Broadcasting Sanson, and I'm going to be live streaming all of the ending credits for I'm sorry, Twisted Metal Black. Got a little preoccupied there, but let's go ahead and get started with this. We're just going to start with the very first one. We got to play all, so I hope y'all enjoy. I'll give some commentary for this while we're doing it.
They took everything from me. Then they put me in this hole. So I could sit and think all day long about what I'd lost. My freedom, my wife.
My freedom, my wife.
Even my pride.
Took my dog.
It was hard to know which one I missed the most. Sometimes when I'm locked up, I swore I heard the man with the plane coming back to get me. But none of it was real. It was just my head going to mush. But then, one day, I had a visitor. And that's when everything changed. He said his name was Calypso. He ran some kind of weird contest, and he was looking for people like me to be a part of it.
He can give people anything and he
told
wants.
me
Why is he missing
if I won, I could have the one thing my heart desired. I may be no rocket scientist, but I know opportunity when I see it. That pilot had taken a piece of my life and twisted it all around. How could I refuse the chance for revenge?
How could he refuse? Easy. I know. Look, they just beat me. Flashback.
When I passed out in my truck, I dreamed about the farm. I guess I must have been thinking back to the day when everything went wrong. I remember it so well. We was 2 weeks from harvest. I was checking out the crop when I heard this noise up in the air. There weren't no dusting schedule that afternoon. I hollered for the guy to stop, but it just kept coming.
Oh no.
I didn't know what was happening at first. I couldn't breathe, and my heart was beating so fast, thank the Lord, I passed out real quick. I thought I was dead. I must have been out for hours, and when I woke up, well, my God, what had happened to me? My first thought was to get home to Annie. She was real smart. She'd figure out what to do. But when I got there, I guess she'd already figured out something else. I heard them laughing, talking about how they'd go the next week, try to collect the life insurance. Everything hurt. My face, my mind, my heart. I remember grabbing for the closest thing I could find. I just lost it. I'd hunt that pilot down sooner or later. But for now, it was strictly between me and Annie. I've been hitting Annie's body for well over an hour.
Hell yeah, go
You
ahead.
couldn't even tell who she was no more. There's a man out there took my wife and turned me into a freak. When I win this contest, he's gonna pay for what he done. I'd won the contest, and now it was my turn to collect. I went to see Calypso, and just as promised, he delivered the goods. I knew right from the start he'd get me the revenge I was craving. When we went back to the farm, Calypso said he had a little surprise for me.
Surprise. He almost said silly.
Somehow he'd done it. He'd found that bastard who made me kill Annie. Son of a bitch even brought his plane with him.
Some bitch even brought the plane.
Calypso said
Folks,
all I
it's been
had
about
to
an
do
hour
to
stream
get
of
my
just
prolo
cutscenes here.
step aboard.
Beginning, middle, end.
It was a one-way ticket to my heart's desire. That pilot had taken everything from me. It was right time he learned how it felt. It may have been only the second time I killed someone, but it felt so damn good. I think I was beginning to see my true calling. So I done gave up farming and moved into the city. In a place like that, well, who knows what kind of trouble an old redneck like me could get into.
All kinds of... Twisted Metal Black. Alright, we got next. Preacher.
The Lord does work in mysterious ways. He giveth and he taketh away.
This is one of them.
So it was
pretty good
with
story.
my freedom. In my years alone in that dark place, I would often hear a voice calling to me from within.
You are thy chosen one, Jedediah. You are my child, here to do my bidding.
Truly, I believed there would be no escape from the demon inside me. I wasn't even a real preacher. I was an evangelist,
Oh my goodness.
rejected by the church. I didn't have the strength to fight the demon alone.
He
But
couldn't
one
fight it
day, I
alone.
was given
Get some
a
Jack
chance
Daniels
for
like everybody else,
salvation.
pussy.
His name was Calypso.
Calypso, he promises everybody shit.
If I
He
won
uses the
his
same cell, so how does he
contest,
keep everybody
he
in
would
it?
reveal the truth. It had been 2 years since the beast had entered my mind, controlling my actions, making others believe I was responsible for those killings. But now I had a second chance. I accepted the offer willingly. All I had to do was win, and a path back into the light would be opened unto me.
Oh shit, he killed Minion too. I like how on the races you have to fight everybody at the track, but yet they're still alive the next
It
time.
is wondrous indeed how his mind will find shelter in memories of the past. I thought back to that fateful night. I had been approached by a young couple who brought to me their child. I was to perform one of my most important duties, an exorcism. But the beast was too powerful, even as I ministered to the child. The demon brought its foul
He got his
influence
ass whooped by
upon
a
me
baby demon.
and entered my mind. My soul was trapped. All I could do was cry
Oh,
out
no.
inside as
All I could do was shit
tore
my
that
pants.
church apart. The demon's hatred raged all around, killing everyone in the church. Countless millions of years it had been hounded by the warriors of God.
Oh.
It was going to make me pay.
Open up in there! This is the police!
And then the creature abandoned me, right when I needed it the most.
Get your hands in the air! Do it! Do it now!
Every waking hour since, I've feared the demon. But now I have a second chance. When I win this contest, I know the Lord will welcome me back.
Sorry about that. I'll take my headset off for a second. Preacher out killing people in El Camino. The helicopter pilot should really use a seatbelt.
I had triumphed over the darkness. I visited Calypso. It was time for him to prove my innocence and clear my name. And yet, he seemed hesitant. I made no promise to clear your name, he said. I only promised to show you the truth. The truth, he said, was that the demon wasn't real. The voice inside me was a figment of my imagination. My God, it was all in my mind. The exorcism.
Who would have thought a batshit crazy
It
preacher?
wasn't an exorcism at all. It was simply a baptism. It was Judgment Day in that church, and I was the angel of
So he even
death.
killed the baby. This game is dark. I will give it that. It goes the extra mile with its
Not by God, but
ending
by Calypso.
credits. Always
He
has.
was right. I was, as they say, insane. My whole life I'd been trying to silence that voice. I even performed rituals to show my loyalty to God in hopes that he would save me.
Did none of his past parishioners, notice the holes in his hands like Jesus and stuff?
A man cannot hide from himself. There is only one path before me.
Fine. I go. Oh well. It's gotta be good. Blackfield
2
Asylum.
years I'd been locked away. Not
Prison
a day
that only
went by
has
I
one
didn't pray to
room.
God. But I knew even he wouldn't forgive me for what I'd done. See, God only has time for those who deserve his mercy. And I just didn't
I like how they
qualify.
leave all these people decked out in their full gear.
But then one day I had this visitor.
Man, there's a prison shortage. We can't really
I knew
give them
Calypso
clothes, so
by
whatever the fuck they wear
reputation.
in, just leave it
You
on.
don't spend 10 years on the force without knowing every dirtbag in Midtown. Seems he wanted me in this contest. He said if I won, he'd ease my pain. My God, he knew. How could he have known?
How?
Calypso said if I won the game, I'd get a chance to undo the big mistake that was eating at my soul.
Eating it.
Redemption.
Just eating
That's a
away.
big thing to offer a man without a hope in hell. How can I refuse?
How the hell did all these cars get in there too? That's what I want to know. Who stores a bunch of crazy people that runs around killing folks in a race with their vehicle?
As I drifted away, the torment began again. The same torment I'd endured 1,000 nights and days before. I began to remember. It happened a couple of years back. We were out across from the Northside Apartments. There'd been reports of terrorist activity in the building. When we got there, we found some kind of doomsday cult had set up shop inside.
Not a
We were
doomsday
sent
cult.
there to take them out. These guys were real psychos, desperate as hell, holed up like rats in a cage. But now their little hideaway was a kill zone, and I had them right
sure
in my
enough.
sights. I'd dealt with a lot of dirtbags before, but for some reason, this was different.
All units open fire! Open fire! Shoot to kill!
Pew,
These
pew,
years
pew.
trying to make a difference. And for what? So that
All
we
right,
could
snipers
arrest these
used down.
scum-suckers and watch them
Auto
go
weapons
free the
like
same
that.
afternoon? My rage got the better of me. I couldn't focus. I wanted to send these killers to hell where they belong. I got them. But not before I made the biggest mistake of my life. I'd let my emotions cloud my judgment. It cost me, but it cost someone else even more. Oh my God, what had I done?
You shot the kid.
Those people were dead, and it was all my fault.
Yep.
There was only one way out,
Kill yourself.
but that way was closed.
Aw, he didn't have any bullets.
I was going to have to live with it for the rest of my life, and nothing I could do would ever take away the pain.
Well, yeah, you could reload. That would take
Until
away the pain.
now.
Reloading would definitely take away the pain.
won the contest. Now it was time to see if the rumors were true. Did Calypso really have the power to give me a second chance? He asked if I really wanted a second chance, if I understood the risks. But I wasn't going to screw up twice. This time, it was all going to work out. I demanded my prize. And just like that, I was back. I knew what to do this time. I had to contain my anger. I had to focus. That little girl was going to be safe. It was my sworn duty, both to her and to myself.
He's drawing a weapon. All units open fire. Open fire. Shoot to kill.
I made sure every single bullet found the right target this time. That dirtbag went down like a puppet with his strings cut.
Terrorist is down. Terrorist is down. Great shooting, Agent. Second team, move it.
But it wasn't over. Not until I knew those people were safe. They were shaken but alive. Calypso had done it. I never thought it could be
All
like...
units, target is knocked down. Target is still hot.
One shot.
I was so close to making it right.
Agent.
Yeah,
Agent
he
Stone,
was, but-
report in. Are you hit?
Twisted Metal Black. Mr. Graham. There is one part of this I am going to mute because it will hit us for copyright if we
lose
don't.
track of time. Hours melt
Yeah,
into
hell,
days.
be alright, we'll take it out later.
Days turn into years. 30 years in my case.
30 years.
After so much time in solitary, I should have been getting better.
Batshit crazy though, dude.
But
Yeah,
in
for
my
those of y'all that
heart,
don't know, if you do
I always
stream
knew there
Metal
was
Gear,
no cure
the
for what happened to me.
music scenes will
But I
hit you
kept on
for
hoping.
copyright. But
I knew if I waited
YouTube's
long
little
enough,
editor does an
I'd get
excellent
revenge
job of
against the
taking
man
them
who
out for you.
destroyed my
If you want
mind.
to monetize, and if you don't, then it don't really matter. It ain't a big deal. We just monetize ours. That way it gives us money for prizes like
But I could
the
only
current,
wait so long.
you know, giveaway we have
Every
going right
day,
now of
visions got
a Blu-ray
worse.
of The Killing Joke.
Soon I wouldn't be able to tell reality from my nightmares. But then,
And trust me,
my life changed.
we spent way more out of pocket
He
than
called himself Calypso.
anything we've made on ads, but
He said he ran a
it's
contest.
just a nice touch to be able to do it, I guess.
Winner take all. In my case, first prize meant getting even with the man who stole my sanity.
Ooh, he stole the sanity.
How could I refuse? I
You can
agreed
say no.
to play.
Oh, there's me blowing up again. Somebody else taking a nap, remembering what happened.
I hadn't thought about the war in years. All the drugs and therapy in the world could never get me to talk about what I went through. But when I passed out, I couldn't escape it. The past came rushing back. It was 1971 again. And I was back in Nam. Ben had gone down. It was just me, all alone, trying to revive him. I was shouting to Benny, trying to see if he was okay.
Benny!
Before I knew it, the enemy was on me. They put us into some stinking hole, 25 feet below the ground.
Ah, come on,
Benny
Benny.
was in bad shape. I didn't know how long he was gonna hold out. Seems like forever I was screaming for someone to come and help him. Then one day, we had a visitor. The
Oh,
guy
who
was
is
an
this?
advisor to the
Look at that big
Vietnamese,
gold tooth.
and he had his own unique idea of torture.
Oh,
Starvation. Benny was on his last legs, and I wasn't far behind.
come on, Benny.
5
You
days
can do
without
it.
any food will bring any man to the edge. And the advisor said the only way I was going to survive was to eat. He gave me a knife.
Oh,
and started
really?
laughing. He said if I wanted food, I'd have to make do with whatever I could find in the home.
Ah. Ooh, look,
I tried
it's
to block
Thai
out what
chili.
was happening. I knew what he wanted me to do, but there was no way I was going to give him the satisfaction.
I don't think that's what his buddy meant when he said eat me.
Benny died 2 days later. I couldn't look at him. I didn't even want to think about it. It's amazing the things
It's like a
you'll
messed
do to
up form of
survive.
sushi. What's up, newest
I
visitor?
think Benny would have understood.
Tastes like chicken.
They say the mind bends and twists in order to deal with the horrors of life. I think my mind bent so much it snapped in two. When a platoon of GIs freed me 2 weeks later, they tried to take the helmet off. I killed 4 of them before they took me down. After that, they shipped me back to the States and put me in the asylum.
Who the hell sent the helmet back to the States?
Now I have
know.
a chance to get even with the man who pushed me over the edge and made Benny die.
You go get him, Green. You go get him.
I'd done it. The battle was over. I'd won the contest. I went to see Calypso. Turns out he was a man of his word. He told me it was time for a reunion. After all these years, the advisor looked exactly the same. He didn't know who I was, but I recognized him. I'd been seeing his face in my nightmares for 30 years. Calypso had one more special prize for me. Dinner for one. 30 years is a long time to be locked away. You get kinda tired of asylum food. But after all this time, something new was on the menu. As much as I hated to admit it, over the years I developed
Somebody likes eating
special
meat.
craving for human flesh.
Like I said, it's some dark shit Metal Gear shit. Twisted Metal comes up with. See who we got next. John Doe.
The doctors said it was some kind of amnesia. No one could figure out who I was or where I came from. There were some days I wondered if I actually existed at all. All we had to go on were the tattoos. Somehow, they were the key to the person I was.
So why's he in an insane
And
asylum
from
if
the
he just
looks
has
of him,
amnesia?
You'd think I was a nasty piece of work. I was beginning to think I'd never discover the truth. Then, the truth just kind of waltzes in through my door. Guy's
That's
name
kind of
was
the guy we
Calypso.
just, you like walk
He
around
ran
prison.
this contest. He tells me he can clear everything up. I tell him to get lost before I break his freaking neck. But then he shows me this picture. Me, in a suit, all nice and neat, like I was actually someone important. He said there was this whole life just waiting for me. All I had to do was win his contest. How could I refuse? Now I had a chance to get the answers I needed. Let's face it, who wants to spend the rest of their life as a nobody? I must have been out for hours. At first there was just darkness, but then I started to see things. Bad things. I remember now. I ran with this gang. At first, we were small time. Random beatings, robbery. We were nobodies. So we came up with a plan. The bomb was choice. Freaking huge. when that building came down, who knew what kind of viruses and diseases would spread across the world?
Oh
It
no.
was glorious. Instant extinction.
They got a game out where you can kill the world with viruses
for the
and shit.
first time, we were important. We were feared. And that's it. The memories end there. I don't think I like the man I'm turning out to be.
Oh, he don't like himself.
I'd won the contest. Now it was time for the truth. I went to see Calypso. Hopefully he would know who I was. He did. Jesus. I was FBI. I'd been deep undercover for the last year trying to bust a doomsday cult in Midtown. Calypso said I was a hero. That night I rushed back into the building. I had to get that bomb as far away as I could, but there just wasn't time. So I took the quick way out. The explosion knocked me out.
It's one of my favorite ones.
Now I remember. I am a hero. A hero undercover agent standing in front of number 2 on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. In other words, a dead man. Calypso thanked me for being such a great contestant. Then he said goodbye. I remember now. I have a family.
Yep. Had.
God, I was just starting to remember.
It's a little dark there, but you know, hey. It is Twisted Metal. What we got next? No Face.
When the lights are low in this place, you get plenty of time for thinking.
Really?
It beats the alternative. Listening
He's
to
only
the
seen one
screams
damn
that
cell.
come from every
I
direction.
mean, this dude has been sitting in front of every one. I guess they're the only ones locked up in this. Everybody else is free on every story mode.
Must have been years I was left alone in that darkness. But when you look like I do, it's probably for the best.
Michael Jackson with his face cut
My
eyes
life
closed.
was over. But the man who did this to me, to my face, he was still out there. But one day, I had a visitor. The guy's name was Calypso. He ran this freak show contest he wanted me to be a part of. If I entered and won, he said I'd taste the payback I'd been dreaming about. I just wanted to find the son of a bitch who destroyed my life. How could I refuse?
Minion blows up the exact same way no matter who kills it.
In the nut house, I was always drugged up. I never thought about what happened to me. But now that I was out, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was a boxer. You never heard of me. I was strictly small time. One night, I went up against this hotshot fighter from out of state. I never even saw him coming. I got torn to pieces before the end of the first round.
He got his ass whooped.
My jaw was shattered. My nose was broke. I was a mess. And some of the guys from the gym said they knew this surgeon who could fix me up. Good as new. Maybe there were better doctors in town, but none that I could afford. Besides, I'd heard this guy was a big fan of the fights. Too bad old Doc made the mistake of betting on me that night.
$20,000.
Ooh.
$20,000.
Might should have been a question he asked before
As I
having
went
everything
under,
started.
all I could hear was the scraping sound of the Doc's blade and this blaring opera music he played while he worked.
Blah, 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 blah.
Like it had gone 15 rounds with a semi-truck.
La.
The Doc did a good job. I'll give him that. From what I hear, I went a little crazy. They say I busted up the hospital trying to find the guy.
Really?
In the process, I tore up 6 innocent people. But now that I'm out, there ain't no place for the doc to hide.
I guess he drives by sonar or some shit.
So what do you know? I was the winner. Calypso's contest was over and I was the champ. And true to his word, the man delivered the goods. I got my prize. He even had a special bonus lined up for me. It fit perfect, like we was meant to be together. I had seen fear in a man's eyes before, but this was different. This was special. I think that doctor, he knew payback was going to be brutal. It's funny.
Sure so.
After all these years, I still got some snap in that left hook of mine. You know, that was the first time I ever knocked someone out with one punch.
Alright, who we got next, folks? Bloody Mary.
First time I knew I was different, I was just a little girl. There was this boy I really liked. One day I finally got up the courage to tell him. He pushed me down in the mud. He called me ugly. I've been alone ever since, always waiting and hoping for that certain someone to come my way. I remember right after college, all my friends with their perfect boyfriends and their society weddings. Every time one of those bitches got hitched, I'd freak. Eventually, they had to put me on meds just to calm me down. But then one day, in the asylum, I had a visitor. The gentleman's name was Calypso. He said if I won his game, I'd never have to be alone again. He said he knew where I could find my true love. How could I refuse an offer like that? After all, no one as pretty as me deserves to be alone.
No shit.
I was asleep for hours, dreaming about weddings. In fact, one very special wedding. I was one of the bridesmaids as usual. My friend Kristen, she was the one getting married. Can you believe what she did? She actually had the nerve to throw the bouquet to me, that little bitch. Looking back, I'm not sure it was such a good idea to come off my medication.
Mary, quite contrary. You're just an ugly fat cow.
I think that day, my heart just snapped in two, and I think my mind did the same. So I grabbed the closest thing I could find, and then I wasn't really sure what I did. If I wasn't going to have a man, then no one was. I dragged Kristen's fat, ugly body into one of the dressing rooms and bolted the door. Standing there in Kristen's dress, I realized I was the most beautiful bride I had ever seen. When I win this contest, Calypso will find me a man who thinks so too.
Get some Trojan condoms.
I'm sure there were quite a few sour faces in town when all the
Aw,
girls
sure
learned
not.
I'd won the contest. I demanded my prize from Calypso. I wanted to meet my true love. Calypso delivered. It was my darling, my sweetheart, and he was gorgeous. Calypso told me he had to make a few modifications, but what man doesn't need a little adjusting here and there? As he held me in his big, strong arms, he leaned in to whisper something in my ear. To this day, I still can't believe what he said.
I will never love you.
My God, I was so close. But this wasn't my true love at all. He wasn't anything like the man I thought he was. Certainly not good enough for a girl like me.
Oh, she's
My
still
Prince
angry.
Charming is out there. I know he is, and I'll find him. Even if I have to go through each and every man, one at a time.
Alright guys, that's the end of part 1. We'll be having part 2 up shortly. Stay tuned.